Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Baba Bagide Imo TV. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. Buhari meet Nigerians in South Korea, reiterates commitments. Nnamdi Kanu in DSS torture chamber, not released, family alleges. Insecurity, Jabi Lake Mall shut down over risk of terror attack. Cross River youth vowed to block election over bad roads in communities. Still from the headlines, bandit gunned down popular monarch. Assassins kill consultant while police delay distress caller. On Banditry, bandits seize phones of police officers in Zamfara. And to foreign, Ghana economic hardship to be tackled boldly, VP, and on sports. On the 17 Women's World Cup, no shame losing to Colombia, we will fight for bronze. Olowo Kere. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari told Nigerians living in Republic of Korea on Thursday that they serve as the faces of Nigeria and should work to promote a positive image of the nation by their behaviors, attitude, and overall demeanor, according to a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. He stated this during an interactive meeting with the leadership and select members of the Nigerian community as part of his engagement at the end of the First World Vows Summit 2022, while urging them to remain good ambassadors of Nigeria at all times. According to the President, as law-abiding citizens of our great country, I advise you to replicate the excellent Nigerian virtues by coexisting peacefully with your hosts and abide by the laws of the land. You must also strive to eschew any act of lawlessness in your day-to-day activities and to take it as major responsibility to encourage other Nigerians to always remain of excellent behavior. The President assured them that the federal government, through the embassy, will always strive to protect their interests by ensuring that none of you is unjustly treated in all times. He further appealed to them to see all Nigerians as brothers and sisters, irrespective of tribe and religion, and collectively work to positively project the image of the country. On preparations for the 2023 national elections, which he said are in active stages, Buhari sought for their prayers and support to enable us to transit peacefully to the next administration and deepen the democratic processes in our country, expressing delight that the outcomes of the last 4 off-season elections have left us with great optimism for better conducted and acceptable 2023 elections. Moving to the next story, a family of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, has accused the Department of State Services, DSS, of detaining the Biafra agitator in the torture chamber. Kanu, one of the brothers of the agitator, said Kanu had not been released despite court orders. He was reacting to the Federal High Court in Humayer's ruling that Kanu is to be returned to Kenya. The court ruled that Kanu's extraordinary renditions was against his fundamental rights. It ordered that the IPOB leader should be restored to the state he was in before the Kenya arrest and extraordinary rendition last year. Recall that Kanu was arrested in Kenya and repatriated to Nigeria last year. The Nigerian government was accused of subjecting the IPOB leader to extraordinary rendition last year. Upon his return to Nigeria, Kanu was locked up by the Department of State Services, DSS, while subjecting him to legal tortures. To this end, Kanu's special counsel, Aloy Ejimako, instituted a legal action against the Nigerian government. On Wednesday, the court granted all the 7 prayers sought by Ejimako. Reacting to Kenuti tweeted, some people are having the notion that #Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been released from detention. The answer is no. He's still in DSS torture chamber. To stories as regards the FCT. The management of the popular Jabi Lake Mall in Abuja, FCT, has shut down its operations amid security threats in the Federal Capital Territory. This was disclosed on Thursday in a post on the mall's social media page at Jabi Lake Mall, Nigeria. The management said it was reviewing the security situation with appropriate authorities and that it will be reopened soon. The announcement is coming against the backdrop of security reports by the United States of America and other Western countries that there is a risk and high terror attacks in Abuja FCT. The warning said attack will be aimed at government buildings and other centers where large crowds gathering. The post read, to all our valued shoppers, Jabi Lake Mall will be closed today, Thursday, 27th October 2022. The decision has been taken in the overall interest of the safety of all staffs and customers of the mall. Center management is committed to minimizing any disruptions. However, the safety of our staffs and shoppers remains our highest priority. Management is constantly reviewing the security situation in consultation with relevant security authorities and will inform you when the mall will be reopened. And to cross river states, youth and others natives of Inta, Insele, and Edo communities in Ikom have lamented the deplorable state of their only access road. They have expressed anger over the fact that since 55 years ago, when a former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, rode in a convoy on it and action was pledged, nobody has remembered the road nor the natives. The natives have therefore vowed that they will not allow the general election to hold in the community. The people described what they go through on the road as sufferings. Kingsley Mfa, one of the youth leaders, said, "We have resolved that no elections will hold in our communities since no political office holder means well, remembers us or speaks for us. We have resolved that if we can't find anyone who means well for our community, we won't vote in the elections. Elections will not be conducted in our community because we have been marginalized. How can a community survive without basic infrastructure like access road?" Also speaking to journalists on the visit, a traditional leader, Chief Lebanos Mfuono Unto, village head Ungo Etinga village, Inter-West Autonomous Community, said the Inter-Insele Edo road links our communities with Edo to Obobra, but it has been a very pitiable state for decades. Moving to the next story on the world news. Bandits have killed the traditional ruler of Sabongida in Magami district of Gusau, local government area LGA of Zamfara state, Al-Haji Mohammed Abdul. Politics Nigeria learned that the attack occurred at about 5:30 a.m. on Wednesday. The outlaws have entered the town when the residents were performing the morning prayers and killed 2 people, including Al-Haji Abdul. They also injured 4 locals. This newspaper gathered that the villagers also killed 4 of the terrorists. Over the last decade, Zamfara state in northwestern Nigeria has been engulfed by violence. Gangs of young men ride into villages on motorcycles armed with kashnok and machete to burn, rape, and steal and kill. They appear on the road without warning, shooting drivers and dragging terrified passengers from their cars to be ransomed or shot. Even children are not safe. Hundreds of kids have been abducted from boarding schools across the state and held captive again, and for money at bandits hideout deep in the forest without government intervention or securing their communities. To another story as regards security matters. The Ondo State Police Command on Wednesday said it commenced investigation into the alleged murder of a consultant, Michael Adeshitimi. Some yet to be identified persons have also killed the victim, who was an information communication technology consultant at his house in the Okuta-Lerinla area of Akure, Ondo State. Punch Metro gathered that the incident occurred barely 9 months after the deceased daughter was killed in similar circumstances. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Mrs. Fumilayo Odulami, who confirmed the incident, said the command had started investigation. She disclosed that the police met the man in a pool of blood and assisted him to a hospital where he was confirmed dead. Recalling the incident, the eldest son of the deceased, Atinu Adesitimi, "My parents were at home that evening when they heard a gang and a band at the gate around 9 p.m. Under normal circumstances, we were cautious about security after the death of my younger sister." According to her, their faces were not clearly seen because the place was dark. All she saw was the gun in their hand and one of the men who followed my dad back into the main building, which was a little distance from the gate. She overheard the men asking my father, "Where is the document?" My mom ran through the back door to our neighbor's house where she called policemen before they went away. Moving on to the next story in Zamfara State. Bandits in Zamfara have attacked a police outpost in Magami community in Gusau Zamfara capital seizing the phones of police officers on duty. Magami is one of the conflict-ravaged communities in Zamfara state. Several residents have fled the community as a result of incessant attacks by the terrorists. According to Abdul Balarabe, a local journalist who reported terror attacks in the state, the government arrived in the community around 3:40 p.m. He said after collecting the phones, the terrorists shot into the air before they went back into the bush. Bandits attacked Magami Divisional Police Station under Guzau LGA of Zamfara State, snatched phones and other valuables belonging to the police on duty. They also fired warning shots and escaped. Community source told Daily Trust that the bandits stormed the station with the intention of freeing one of them who was detained there. However, the suspects had been reportedly transferred to the state police headquarters by the time they got to the station. They collected the phones of all officers on duty and that of the one complainant that they met there, but didn't kill anybody, a source concluded. When contacted, SP Mohammed Shehu, Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO, in Zamfara, denied the report, saying no such thing happened. And two's foreign story. The Ghanaian government says it will implement bold and deliberate decisions to deal with the country's economic crisis in the coming days. In recent months, Ghana has been plagued by soaring inflation, currency depreciation, and many other economic challenges. Ghanaian Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia said the ongoing changes in the world economic order with rising inflations and disruptions in global supply chains were meant for developing countries. Ghana could no longer operate in a business as usual mode but should rapidly pivot and become self-reliant. Mr. Bamome, who said at the second edition of the Standard Chartered Digital Banking, Innovation and FinTech Festival in Accra. The Vice President acknowledged that Ghana was facing an economic crisis that had to be addressed in different dimensions. According to him, the first and foremost important issues affecting confidence in the economy in ensuring that the West African country has fiscal discipline and debt sustainability. If you're just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV. Lastly is on the sports story. Flamingo's head coach Bankole Olowokere has nothing but praise for his players following the defeats against Colombia in the 2022 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup on Wednesday. The Flamingos lost the semi-final encounters 6-5 on penalties and will now fight for the third place against Germany on Saturday. It was the first time the Nigerian girls would make it to the semi-final of the competition, and they could end the competition in style by beating the Germans. They have done well. We made it to the semi-final, and our opponent was strong as well. It was a tough match. I always tell them that the more you go in the competition, the harder it becomes. They are a tough opponent, Olowokere said in a short video posted on the Super Falcons Twitter handle. Even those that miss penalties are specialists. That is the game of penalties. They gave their all. Anyone can miss penalty. They cannot be crucified. They did their best. We will give them time to rest, then we will come up as parents and talk to them, psych them up and make them believe that all is not lost. We still have the third place to play for, which is the bronze medal. That wraps it up for this world news this hour from BGI TV. Before we go, some major headlines. Buhari meets Nigerians in South Korea, reiterates commitments. Nnamdi Kanu in DSS torture chamber, not released, family alleges. We're also brought to you, Jabi Lake Mall shut down over risk of terror attack. We're also brought to you from Cross River, youths vow to block election over bad roads in communities. And finally on sport, on the 17 Women's World Cup, no shame losing to Colombia, we will fight for bronze. Olowokere concludes. For more stories on YouTube, our handle is Babagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and function, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placement only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI.